camera happens. Batteries go out, flashes go out. It's really amazing in there what happens to cameras and telephones. But, you know, that's a scary one. Okay, a little bit about the school, the children, a little bit of history now. The schoolroom here held about 35 students, and they have anywhere from 25 to 35 kids here every day during the week. A lot of them were from the people that came here and moved, us shop owners, and a few of them were from the miners. Now those children, the miners were really, really particular about their children. They wanted them to grow up to be something other than miners or just day workers. They really, really wanted them to learn. LT's going to show you a little math problem here a little bit later. It's a little funny, but it tells you kind of how the miners and the cowboys actually did math. They were pretty good kids. You know, the rules are about the same as they are now. You know, don't talk in class. You know, raise your hand. If you had to go outside, you had to have a escort, and you know, just different things like that. We did have chores and stuff for the children to do after school, so it was pretty much like it is now that they did that. Now we did have teachers. Now our teacher down at the very first schoolhouse, which LT told you was down in the parking lot, her name was Ella Wagner. Now Ella, she was a young girl, and she was told that, you know, she had to, you know, pretty much stay single on her own, but she fell in love in 1883. Now in 1882 is when she started. Well, they decided that she was going to get married, and she was not going to pay as much attention to the children in the school. Now, schoolworm back then had to be complete attention. Everything in their life had to center around the children, within reason. And so if they were married, of course they had a family and so on and so forth, and they wouldn't pay attention to their children. So they said that they'd have to let her go when she got married. And sure enough, they started bringing in other single women, and they did make a law that says that you could not be married if you were a female. And these young ladies that were coming in, they were getting snapped up just like that from the miners, so they decided they were going to get a man to do it. So they brought in Mr. Hinks. Now he came here in April of 1884. And so he did a very good job from what I understand, and because he was a male, if he was married, then the wife took care of everything, and he was the school teacher. Now, if he wasn't, he would go have one night a week where he could court a woman, one night. And Sunday, of course, they could have Sunday school and Sunday off. But that's all they could do to court is one day. Not very much. $70 to $110 was what these school teachers would make. And out of that, they had to take a little bit of money and they had to put it away for their old age so that they wouldn't be a burden on their family or on society. So they still had money after they retired. I don't know what that is now. So we do have, they had some really weird rules for the teachers. What are some of them? They're really great. No makeup for a female, not a male. These are females. No makeup. They couldn't color their hair. They couldn't do anything curly or fancy with it. If they rode in a cart, a buggy, wagon, with a man, that man had better be the father or the brother. If it was any other man, even a cousin, it was a potential husband, and they could lose their job at that second because they were messing around. They could not mess around in public. Men couldn't smoke cigars or drink. Teachers couldn't do that in public either. And it was really no bright colors, always dark, or a white shirt and a dark dress. Now, we did have these two, a British couple that came here one day, and the story, you want to tell that story, LT?
Cool.
Yeah, that's a good story. Go ahead and tell that.
Okay, there was a British couple here, having a good time. We get a lot of people from England here anyway, and they were taking pictures up and down the street. They came up to the schoolhouse, and they met this woman. She was dressed like Patty, like a school teacher, and she told them the history of the school and all about the kids and everything that went on here, and they just loved this lady. And so they were taking pictures of the schoolhouse, pictures of each other, and pictures of the school teacher. Well, they left, went back home, and they sent their pictures out to be processed. This was in the 70s, so if you had a camera, you had film in it. And when they got their pictures back, they were looking through, and they had pictures of Calico, pictures of each other, pictures of the schoolhouse, but no pictures of the school teacher. So they called down here at the office, and they said, on that day, did you have somebody dressed up as a school teacher here? And they said, no, we don't do that anymore. And she told them that her name was Margaret Olivier, and she was the last school teacher here in Calico. She died in 1936, and she's buried in our cemetery.
You can see the cemetery, well, maybe not at night, but if you're here during the day, it has a big white cross on it, and it's surrounded by a rock wall. And those are real people that are buried. They're buried inside that cemetery. Excuse me, I keep thinking I saw a light up here a few minutes ago, and I keep thinking of it. I'm sorry. LT right now is going to do this here. We would like you to write this down on your chalkboards.
If you haven't already done it.
If you haven't already done it yet. It's 7 goes into 91. And the other one is 32. 32,000 tons, 32,000 pounds equals how many tons? They don't tell me yet. Okay, now LT's got the cutest little thing here, you gotta see it. Where would you like me to stand?
All right, how many people here like math? All right, got a couple of people. We'll keep it simple, how's that? We'll do something simple like 7 into 28, how's that? That's pretty simple. 4. All right, now, all of you are in math class. Did they tell you the name of the division sign? Does anybody know the name of the division sign? No? Well, I'll write it up here for you. No problem. It's called the Gazenta sign because 7 Gazenta 28. Now you're with me. Stay with me now. All right. 7 goes into 28 how many times?
4.
Oh, well, if you guys were in my class, you'd be sitting in this dunce chair right here. Yeah, no, 7 does not go into 28 4 times. 7 goes into 28 13 times. Right? Oh, I can see that confused look on your face. Well, let's figure this out. I'll show you how this works. 7 does not go into 2, so forget about that 2 right now. But 7 does go into 8 one time. 1 times 7 is 7. 8 minus 7 is 1. Now, remember that 2 we couldn't use. We can use that now, so I'm going to bring that down here. 7 goes into 21. How many times? 3 times. 3 times 7 is 21. I got a big fat 0 there. 7 goes into 28 13 times, right?
You see it right there, black and
Right there,
white.
black and white. And I can tell that you all are a little confused about this style of math, but how do we check math? With math, am I correct? So if I take 7 times 13, it'll equal 28, right? So let's do that. 7 times 13. Help me out here, guys. 7 times 3 is how much?
21.
21, that is right. 7 times 1 is 7. Add them together. What do you got?
28.
28. That's right, because 7 goes into 28 13 times. Now,
It gets better.
everybody's still a little confused, and I would be too, but we'll break this down to the very simplest math of all, and that's addition. So I'm going to take 13, write it up here 7 times, and we are all going to add this together just to prove it to you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Okay, help me out here. 3, 6,
9,
Come on, everybody.
12, 15, 18,
21, 22, 23, 24,
25, 26, 27, 28.
28.
And there it is. Because 7 goes into 28 13 times.
How about that?
Let's check this one out. 7 goes into 91 how many times? 13. No. 7 goes into 28 13 times.
Okay, now do this one again.
I didn't go back to 5.
Yes, that is right. 7 goes into 91 13 times.
13 times, y'all were right.
32,000 pounds equal how many tons?
16.
16 tons. What do you get? Another day older and deeper in debt. How many of you are old enough to know that that is a song that they sang back in the old days? Who knows that song? Guess what your homework is going to be tonight? I want to know who sang that song.
Oh boy.
You
Okay.
can come on our face, Calico Ghost Tours and answer. That's your homework.
You guys, what we're going to do right now, if you guys would, Patty's going to show you some more, right here. Go ahead, Patty.
Yes. Now, the children, I told you, oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I thought you asked a question. You were talking. Okay.
I didn't want to be rude.
No, I was loving
He would have wrote it.
Okay, what was I going to say? Oh, the children that came to this school was between 1st grade and 8th grade. The reason it was 8th grade was not because, they could just go to the high school or the junior high over here. It wasn't any. 8th grade was the last year that they had to go to school. They didn't have to go to school past the 8th grade. I know my daddy, he went to Pennsylvania. He was at the school in Pennsylvania. And he went back there 30, 40 years later. And he found an old schoolhouse, and he went in there, and on the wall was the 8th grade graduation class, the last one. And my daddy was pictured in that picture. He was the 8th grade, one of the 8th graders that were on there. So of course we all got it and pictured, in the class and everything. It was pretty cool. But we didn't take that picture, we left it in the schoolhouse. It was pretty cool. But 8th grade, if you wanted to get more schooling, of course you could go to the bigger cities. And they had more education that you could get up there. And it was pretty good. Now, I'm going to tell you, there was a test, a pretty serious test that they had to take to graduate from the 8th grade. 5-hour test. Now, they're supposed to have known all this up through the years. Now, I'm going to try to show you this without getting you blind. Can you see that test? It says, look back on the 8th grade in 1895. That is the test that they had to take. And they had to pass it to graduate. Now, I was told that if they didn't take that, or pass that, they had to come back the next year until they passed it. Now, LT, how many times did you have to come back and take that test?
I took that test 4 times. I kept getting stuck on 7 goes into 28.
13 times! One up here is my pretty favorite one. I think it's kind of neat. Now, a box, or a wagon box, that is like the bed of a truck now. the back of the truck. It was called the bed of the truck. Now back then it was called a wagon box. Now this first part says, it's under arithmetic. Number 2. A wagon box is 2 feet deep, 10 feet long, and 3 feet wide. Now how many bushels of wheat do you think that'll hold?
13.
I found out from a lady that each one of those bushels weigh about 32 pounds. Now, that's going to take a lot of math, because now you got to figure out how much they weigh, how big they are. Oh boy, that's going to take me longer than 5 hours to do. But that there's one of the questions I thought was pretty awesome. You can take a picture of that.
Back then, everybody knew what a bushel was. Today,
Today we just don't know what a bushel is. A bushel is just, it's kind of
it's all wrapped up.
with a string around it, kind of like hay. And it was wheat. And they had out in the field, they had these little wheat things all over, with a little thing, right? You probably saw them on TV, like on the Aristocats, you see the little, okay. Like now we haven't seen it in rocks. Well, you'll be happy to know that is the end of our class time today. Now, we are going to go, whoa, look at that book. We are going to go outside and we're going to get just a few more things. But now this is your time right now to get up, to move around, to take pictures of any pictures that are on the wall. Now, if you can pass up your chalkboard to the front of the...
Are you getting me?
LG's getting them.
There's some pictures back there in the schoolhouse. Everybody asked what that little board back there with the circles are on it, the 1, 2, 3, 4. The teacher did math problems with that.
Gosh.
She did math problems with that, or the kids outside would throw bean bags in it to add up to see who would win a prize. It's a pretty cool thing. She is a perfectionist. Good girl, good. We got everybody? How did I miss them? What did I miss?
Chalkboard.
You want your chalkboard now? I can't believe I forgot your chalkboard. You should have arranged it in here.
Yeah, guys, get up, take pictures. These are all original pictures.
I'm sorry, guys. I'm not a very good teacher.
I can get my pen without falling off.
Okay, folks, we're going to take a class picture as well, but since we have so many, I think we'll do that outside today.
Thank you, Larry. It's so hard to make it.